Behind me, you're not just seeing a map. You're looking at the coordinates of some of the most mysterious events in human history. Lost planes, unexplained explosions, coded books, vanished children, treasures that refuse to be found. Some of them have official explanations, but none of them feel completely solved. Tonight on Top World Discoveries, we open the file, the 10 most mysterious events in the world. Are these just coincidences? Or is there something we're not being told? Let's find out. Our first case begins high above the Earth, on a flight that should have been completely routine. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 takes off from Kuala Lumpur, heading to Beijing with 239 people on board. The night is calm. Communications are normal. There are no distress calls. At 1:19 a.m., the pilot speaks to air traffic control for the last time. "Good night, Malaysian 370. Minutes later, the plane disappears from civilian radar. At first, everyone assumes it must have crashed somewhere along its normal route. But then, military radar and satellite data suggest something far stranger and far more disturbing. The plane turns off course and flies for hours in a completely different direction, likely ending its journey deep over the Indian Ocean. Dozens of ships and aircraft search an enormous area. Years later, a few possible fragments wash up on distant shores. But the main wreckage has never been found. No black boxes, no clear explanation. Was it a catastrophic failure, a hijacking, a deliberate act from inside the cockpit, or something else entirely? In an age when we can track a phone almost anywhere on Earth, the idea that a huge modern jet can simply vanish still feels impossible. And yet, MH370 remains missing. Along with the truth about what really happened that night, our second case takes us from the sky to the frozen slopes of the Ural Mountains in the former Soviet Union. It is 1959. 9 experienced hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, set out on a challenging winter expedition. They are young, skilled, and well-prepared for the harsh conditions. But they never return. When rescue teams finally reach their campsite, they find the tent still standing in the snow. But something is terribly wrong. The tent has been cut open from the inside, as if the hikers slashed their way out in panic. Outside, footprints lead away from the tent into the darkness. Many of them show bare feet or just socks in temperatures far below zero. No one in their right mind would run into that cold dressed like that, unless something terrified them more than the freezing night itself. Over the next days, the bodies are discovered, scattered around the area. Some lie near the tree line. Others are found in a ravine, partially covered in snow. Several of the hikers have broken ribs and severe internal injuries, but very few visible external wounds. One is missing a tongue. Some of their clothing shows traces of radiation. For decades, official explanations have shifted. An avalanche, extreme winds, a military test gone wrong, panic, hypothermia, secret weapons, even supernatural theories. But no theory perfectly fits all the facts. What could make 9 experienced hikers abandon their tent in the middle of the night, half-dressed, and run into a deadly blizzard? What caused such violent internal damage without leaving clear marks on the outside? Whatever happened on that mountain, the full story died with them. And Dyatlov Pass remains one of the coldest and most disturbing mysteries in modern history. Our third mystery doesn't begin on Earth at all, but in the radio silence of deep space. In 1977, in Ohio, a radio telescope known as the Big Ear is quietly listening to the sky. Its task is simple: scan the heavens for unusual radio signals that might stand out from the constant background noise of the universe. Day after day, it records static from stars, galaxies, distant objects. Nothing looks truly remarkable until one very strange signal appears. A powerful, narrow-band signal arrives from the direction of the Sagittarius constellation. It lasts for 72 seconds, rising, holding, then fading away, just long enough to be recorded. And then, it's gone. Later, astronomer Jerry Eman studies the printout of numbers and letters. One sequence jumps off the page. Astonished, he circles it in red ink and writes a single word in the margin: "Wow." From that moment on, it becomes known as the wow signal. The signal doesn't look like ordinary natural noise. It doesn't match any known human-made transmission from that time. In fact, it fits the kind of frequency some scientists believed an intelligent civilization might choose for communication. Telescopes are pointed back at the same patch of sky, again and again, for years. Everyone waits for the signal to return, but it never does. Was it a rare natural event we don't yet understand? A secret transmission we were never told about? Or was it the first, and only, time another civilization said hello and then fell silent? Until something like it is heard again, the wow signal remains a single, lonely spike in the noise of the cosmos. A question mark written in radio waves. Our next mystery lives not in the stars, but on the fragile pages of a book. Imagine walking into a forgotten library, brushing dust off an old volume, and opening it to find a world you cannot read. The pages are filled with flowing handwriting, delicate and detailed. But the letters do not match any alphabet we know. The words do not belong to any known language on Earth. Around the text are bizarre illustrations. Plants no botanist can clearly identify. Strange star charts, naked women in odd baths or pools, and circular diagrams that seem to map out something. This is the Voynich Manuscript, a mysterious handwritten book believed to date back to the 15th century. For more than 100 years, cryptographers, linguists, codebreakers, and even modern AI systems have tried to unlock its secrets. Some believe it's a clever medieval hoax, beautiful nonsense, designed to impress or deceive a wealthy buyer. Others are convinced it is real. A secret medical text, an alchemical guide, or the teachings of a hidden, forgotten group. Every time someone claims, "I've solved it," their solution falls apart under closer inspection. The grammar doesn't hold up. The patterns don't quite fit. If the Voynich manuscript is fake, it may be one of the most sophisticated forgeries in history. If it is real, it could be the last surviving trace of a lost language, or knowledge that someone never intended for the wider world. Until someone can truly read it, the Voynich manuscript remains more than just paper and ink. It is a locked message from the past, still refusing to reveal what it has to say. Far from libraries and telescopes, our next mystery lies beneath the soil of a small island in Canada. Off the coast of Nova Scotia, there is a place called Oak Island. At first glance, it looks like a normal, wooded island. But for more than 200 years, treasure hunters have believed that something extraordinary is buried under its surface. In the late 1700s, locals notice a strange depression in the ground. Curious, they start to dig. A few meters down, they find a layer of wooden planks. They dig deeper, more planks, stones, and oddly placed materials. It looks as if someone carefully constructed a deep shaft and then tried to hide it. Over the next 2 centuries, companies are formed for one purpose: to dig on Oak Island. Millions of dollars are spent. Tunnels collapse. Flooding from the sea destroys progress again and again. At least a few people lose their lives chasing the mystery. Along the way, searchers uncover carved stones with strange symbols, old bits of metal, and evidence of man-made structures deep below the island. No one can agree on what might be hidden there. Some say pirate treasure. Others say the lost wealth of the Knights Templar. Some whisper about secret royal documents or religious relics that could rewrite history. And yet, after all these years, no final, undeniable treasure has been found. Only clues, only fragments, only stories. It may be that Oak Island's real treasure is not gold or jewels at all, but the mystery itself, powerful enough to pull people back, generation after generation. Our sixth mystery unfolds out at sea, in a stretch of water that has captivated the world's imagination. If you draw a triangle connecting Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, you outline what many people call the Bermuda Triangle. For decades, stories have circulated about ships as planes that entered this region and never returned. Some vanish without sending a single distress call. In a few cases, investigators find no wreckage at all, only questions. Pilots describe instruments failing for no clear reason, compasses spinning wildly, strange lights in the sky, sudden walls of fog. Sailors tell stories of storms that seem to appear out of nowhere and seas that turn violent in minutes. On the surface, it sounds like the ocean itself is haunted, swallowing anything that crosses an invisible line. Scientists, however, offer more grounded explanations. The area is heavily traveled, so more accidents naturally happen there. Weather patterns can change quickly. Strong currents, powerful storms, and even gas bubbles from the seafloor may contribute to sudden disasters. Human error, too, plays a major role. To many experts, the Bermuda Triangle is simply a dangerous patch of ocean with a very dramatic reputation. And yet, the legend refuses to die. Maybe it's just coincidence and fear, amplified by books and movies. Or maybe there really is something unusual about that stretch of water. Something that interferes with our machines and plays tricks on our senses. Until every disappearance is fully explained, the Bermuda Triangle will remain a symbol of the unknown. A place on the map where people still whisper, "What if?" Our seventh mystery is an explosion so powerful that it flattened a forest, yet left almost no trace of what caused it. On June 30th, 1908, in remote Siberia near the Tunguska River, the early morning sky suddenly lights up. Witnesses describe a bright, blinding flash high above the horizon. Moments later, a massive explosion rips through the air. The shockwave shatters windows, knocks people off their feet, and is felt hundreds of kilometers away. For nights afterward, the sky glows strangely, as if something enormous has disturbed the atmosphere. When scientists finally reach the remote site, they discover devastation on a huge scale. Around 2,000 square kilometers of forest have been flattened. Trees lie on the ground, all pointing away from a central point, like matchsticks blown over by an invisible giant hand. But there is something crucial missing. There is no impact crater. No obvious chunks of meteorite or comet. No giant rock buried in the earth. The leading theory is this: a space rock, probably a small asteroid or icy comet, exploded high in the atmosphere before it could hit the ground, releasing energy similar to a large nuclear weapon. This explanation fits much of the evidence, but not every detail. What exactly was the object made of? Why did it explode when and where it did? Could a similar event happen today, over a major city? Tunguska is both a mystery from the past and a warning about the future. It reminds us that our planet is moving through a cosmic shooting gallery. And sometimes the danger comes not from the ground below us, but from the sky above. Our eighth case is not about something falling from the sky, but about someone who jumped into it. On November 24, 1971, a man in a suit boards a Northwest Orient Airlines flight from Portland to Seattle. He buys his ticket under the name Dan Cooper. Mid-flight, he hands a note to a flight attendant. At first, she barely looks at it, assuming it's something unimportant. Calmly, he leans in and says, "You'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase, he shows wires and cylinders that appear to be explosives. He demands $200,000 in cash and several parachutes. The plane lands. Passengers are allowed to leave. The money and parachutes are delivered to the aircraft. Then, with only a small crew remaining on board, the plane takes off again, flying low and slow over the dark forests of the Pacific Northwest. Somewhere in that cold, rainy night sky, the man known as Dan Cooper opens the rear stairs of the plane and jumps. He disappears into the storm, carrying the cash, wearing a parachute. Despite one of the largest investigations in U.S. history, no confirmed trace of him is ever found. Years later, some of the ransom money is discovered buried near a riverbank, but the man himself never appears. Did he die during the jump, lost in the wilderness? Did he land safely and create a completely new life? Did someone help him on the ground? To this day, D.B. Cooper remains a legend, the only unsolved airplane hijacker in American history, and a man who quite literally vanished into thin air. Our ninth mystery brings us home, to a quiet house on Christmas Eve. It is 1945 in West Virginia, United States. The Sodder family is asleep when, in the middle of the night, a fire breaks out in their house. Some members of the family manage to escape into the cold, dark night outside, but 5 of the children are believed to still be inside, trapped by the flames. In desperation, the parents try everything they can to rescue them. They run to start their trucks, hoping to drive closer and climb in through the windows, but the engines refuse to turn over, as if they've been sabotaged. Their ladder, usually resting against the house, is suddenly missing. Later, it is found far away, down a nearby hill. By the time the fire burns itself out, the house is almost completely destroyed. The parents brace themselves for the horror of what they're about to see. But investigators report something shocking. In the ashes, they find no clear evidence of 5 bodies. No identifiable bones. No remains that match what should be left after such an intense fire. In the years that follow, the Sodders receive strange letters and reports. People claim they have seen children who look like the missing Sodder kids. A photograph of a young man arrives in the mail, along with a note suggesting that he might be one of their sons. The parents become convinced that their children did not die in the fire, but were taken under the cover of chaos. For decades, a large billboard with the faces of the missing Sodder children stands beside a highway, asking a single painful question. What really happened that night? Our final mystery is not something you can see. It is something some people swear they can hear, and others cannot hear at all. Imagine lying in bed at night. The house is quiet, no traffic, no television, no neighbors making noise, and yet, You hear a low, steady humming sound, like a distant engine that never shuts off. A deep vibration right at the edge of your hearing. You close the window. The sound is still there. You cover your ears. You can almost feel it more than you can hear it. This is how thousands of people around the world describe a phenomenon they call the hum. From Bristol in the United Kingdom to Taos in the United States, people report a similar low-frequency noise that keeps them awake and slowly wears them down. Doctors examine their ears and often find nothing wrong. Sound experts set up recording equipment and sometimes capture nothing unusual at all. Scientists suggest possible causes: distant industrial machinery, ventilation systems, underground vibrations, power lines, or even a psychological effect where the brain creates a sound that isn't really there. But in many cases, no single clear source is ever found. Is the hum just a collection of unrelated local noises that a few sensitive people can't tune out? Or is it something global, some constant vibration in our modern world that we do not yet understand? Tonight, we've opened 10 different files: MH370, the plane that vanished; Dyatlov Pass, death on the snow; the wow signal, a possible cosmic hello; the Voynich Manuscript, the unreadable book; Oak Island, the endless treasure hunt; the Bermuda Triangle, the ocean of disappearances; Tunguska, the day the sky exploded; D.B. Cooper, the Skyjacker who vanished; the Sodder children, lost in the fire; and the hum, the sound only some can hear. What do they all have in common? They raise more questions than answers. Science will keep moving forward. New evidence may appear. Some of these mysteries might be solved one day, but others may remain unsolved forever. Maybe that is part of what makes us human: the need to ask, to doubt, to dig deeper, even when we know the truth might never fully reveal itself. You've been watching Top World Discoveries. If you want us to dive deeper into one of these cases in a full, dedicated episode, tell us in the comments. Which mystery should we investigate next? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next discovery. The world is full of mysteries. We have only just begun.